Hello, my name is Madeline Espinoza, and I am going to be talking about gamifying consent in my number 2 presentation. Gamifying consent is the act of asking someone for consent and turning it into a game, or it can be also described as teaching adults or kids about consent and teaching them in sort of a game manner. We are going to be talking about how shows such as Love Island, Bachelor in Paradise, and Too Hot to Handle can be harmful due to its sexual interactions between the characters. In my personal opinion, I think these shows can be extremely harmful to people. Can also be very entertaining. It can be a great source of happiness, but it can also be a great source of depression and kind of self-insecurities for adults, high schoolers, children, all of the above. These shows can be quite harmful just due to the nature of it all. These shows can be harmful to self-image because of how they're portrayed. A lot of these characters are kind of within that hard beauty standard of an Instagram model, or I quoted as unattended beauty and body standards. There's also portray a lot of toxic relationships and exposing characters' mental health, insecurities, and hardships through that. They can also be included. They do not include kind of inclusive different body types. It is all very fit, very Instagram model type bodies you see on these shows. You don't see any plus size characters at all, so that can harm a lot for a lot of people. A lot of the men on the show are usually very muscular, abs, big muscles, stuff like that. I have seen a few of the shows before, and they do occasionally have not bigger men, but just men that don't have abs. That's about as inclusive as they get. As for the women, I've only seen super skinny ladies on that show, usually with large breasts, big butts. All of that can be very hurtful for people with different body types and teens learning about their body, and it can be a hard thing to fit into and relate with. I think these shows can cause depression and further people's insecurities if not used right, if they aren't using these shows for entertainment but as a source of their depression. These shows portray a lot of toxic relationships. One example would be when I watched the show, I have seen a few times. Ones that really stuck with me were when the men would have super high body counts, like 50 to 100, and would expect the woman to have 10, 15 max. I think that was extremely unfair. And there's a lot of immaturity throughout these adults on these shows. A lot of them still act like they're in high school, are just not there for the right reasons, in my opinion. A lot of them are. And I think that can all be very harmful. These shows have a tendency of exploiting different mental health issues, showing weakness in different people. I think that is also very harmful and not a very productive way of spreading the word of good health, good mental health. I think it's very harmful to show people in this manner, in the way that they do. Not all of the population that watch these can sit back and laugh at the immaturity and the just ridiculous things they do on these shows. Some people find it extremely hurtful. These types of shows have a tendency on sexualizing anything and everything. They back to gamifying consent. These shows tend to turn their games that are mostly based around things like sexy dancing or kissing within these games. They don't really glorify consent. You do see a lot of asking for consent, but I think they could do a better job of that. I think they could more glamify or sexify consent. I think that'd be extremely helpful on teaching the population and helping fight these standards that are put in place. And I believe shows like this just have a lot to work on. I don't think they should be banned or discontinued on any sorts because of how sexualized they are, but I think that they could do a lot more to kind of inform the public and just glamify consent more. I think that these shows should all be rated mature. I think it could be quite harmful for teens to watch, especially going through as much as you do in that age. But like I said, these shows can bring a lot of happiness to people. It can cause a lot of laughter, but it can be very harmful at the same time. All right, and thank you for listening to my presentation.